Hello YouTube. We are here. The Earthsea Day Pocket Tour just ended. I am playing for day 2, so you can catch me, 10 a.m. EST. What else is that? 1 p.m. EST Sunday. That's tomorrow. That is tomorrow. Look at me. This was my run. I played my Flareon's Leafeon deck that I posted in my last video. It's probably my favorite deck. I think it's a really good tournament deck. I had a really weird schedule. I played against 3 Oricorio decks and managed to win them. And then I played against like the other top decks, the Sylveon Gren and Sylveon Zard to win. But my loss was to a mirror match, which I just played bad. But let me talk about this deck. I think that this deck feels like a top 3 deck to me. It's very 50-50. It's very skill intensive. He's using his YouTube voice. Shut up. It's very skill intensive. I think that I like all the options that it lets me use. The biggest advice I'll have after this tournament result is kind of pay attention to Eevee. Your Eevees are your resources, so make sure that you don't over evolve. Make sure that you're saving your Sylveons so that you don't get like Mars screwed over. But it's a really strong deck. It's a really strong deck. I'm going to be in day 2. I'm excited to play again. Hopefully I win this one. But if I don't, it's fine. Let's talk about the meta. You're going to notice already that Charizard Sylveon is the second most used deck. Charizard, especially from the first Earthsea Day where I was the one that used Charizard Sylveon, but I barely missed out. It has popped up to prop itself in that top 4, maybe a top 3 deck by the end of it. But it also has pretty bad win rates, and to really talk about why its win rate is so low is to talk about what happened in the 2 tournaments before it, right? This was the Frog EX, where it had a 56% win rate. This is where it was dominating, right? It was like a super strong deck. But what really happened is Magma Cup happened Friday, right? It happened Friday. It was a 1-day tournament. But the biggest thing that made it drop is there were so many Oricorios. If you look at the win rate of all these Oricorio players, they kind of pop the freak off, right? You notice there's an Archus Tapu Koko deck, right? And I'm going to talk about that as well. There's a lot of decks. So when we're looking at the win rate of all of these top decks, you're kind of going to notice that decks that do good into Oricorio had a kind of positive win rate, right? Like Sylveon Gren did. But this was the Oricorio tournament, right? There was quite a few Oricorio-based decks having the highest win rate, right? If we sort by win rate, obviously there's so many hard decks I'm going to have to talk about later, but if we sort by win rate, the deck that did the best was Silvally Zeraora, and of course, other decks that have Oricorio. Which made decks like Buzzwole and Silvally also have higher win rates, because if these decks are at the top, those decks are going to eat it. This is why Sylveon Greninja, despite it having a free fall, it was losing, it was having bad win rates, it managed to have a 51% win rate and have over 20 of 64 people, kind of because of all of the Oricorios popping up and stopping the fucking Charizard guys from winning, right? So let's talk about first the Charizard deck that's in first. This is 701. This is 2 AZ. They were in chat. They might still be in chat. They're kind of using the standard list. This is the list I also use. I think it's really good. It differs from the rank list. A lot of Japanese rankers are using Guzma. Some are using Red. So there's a lot of customization in these lists. So figure out what fits you. Let me check if there were any other Zard Sylveon players that made cut that did something different, right? Let's check Nick over here. They also went 602, and no, they're also using Sabrina, Lily, Mars, right? It just gives you the most play. I think that these are all going to end up being the same. Let me check Eizen. Eizen actually a really strong player, has won quite a few big tournaments themselves, using Red, right? This is kind of, like I said, a Japanese ladder adaptation. They dropped a Lily. I think Mars is so broken in this deck, and the reason why Mars is so broken, like 2 says, is that you can basically play 2 Charizards. The thing that makes this deck so broken is that you can play 2 Charizards, and when a Charizard drops, Mars is so important for allowing the second Charizard to pop off, right? Of course, Mars is also good early, right? You can have so many people brick. So really cool to see this deck still do really good. The other deck I kind of want to talk about that was up there at 701 is Criado. They're a top 100 player from last season. I think they're a top 20, maybe top 50. They did really good. They were killing it last season. They've picked up Dark Tina, and I want to talk about why this deck did so good despite Oricorio being everywhere, is because all of the Oricorio players have dropped Guzma, and it allows for pure Dark Tina to be viable again. Because no one's running Guzma, your Rocky helmets are always sticking, and your damage pings are always huge. So extremely important to talk about. They did, I think, even in their own run, they ended up playing against quite a few Oricorio players, 4 to be exact, and pretty much most of them were not running Guzma, right? This isn't running Guzma. El Boss is one of the players that will also be in tomorrow. Using this kind of list, this list is extremely popular right now. It is double Oricorio, Zera, Sylve. It's just really strong. It's everywhere in ladder as well. It has a positive win rate into quite a few of the top decks, especially Charizard, when Charizard is so popular. So consider using this deck if that is something that you want to have a positive win rate into. And like I said, because of all the Oricorio decks, Sylveon Greninja players pop off, right? And that makes sense, right, when you have a good matchup. But I do want to point out another Oricorio-based deck that did really well. TMan, I think someone in the Magma tournament made this deck list. I don't remember which player gets the credit for it, but T-Man picked the deck up. They're using Coco, Oricorio, Zeraora, and Archus. So let me talk about how this deck works and why you might want to choose this over Silvally. So Silvally, it comes with 6 cards, right? If you're playing Silvally, you're playing Type Null, Silvally, plus 2 Gladions, and that's 6 cards. What this does is you still have a attacker that's just as good. It does 20 and then 90 the next turn, Tapu Koko. And then you have like these Chords and Dawns for Arceus, which is an alternate finisher. Eventually, all it needs is like 1 energy attached to it when you electrical cord it. Again, because there's no Guzma, your electrical cords are sticking pretty much all the time. Arceus is going to end up being a big, huge benefactory. And of course, bad matchups that you might have, right? Like Zard just gets Oricorio'd. T-Man's matchups were 2 Zards that they ended up beating. Like if you look at this, like pretty much they had a pretty favorable matchups. They did end up beating, I think, a tough matchup in Guzzlord Nihilego after losing to 1. So that's kind of also another important thing to think about. Surprised there was no Solgaleo Zone. I think Solgaleo has gotten phased out of the meta. So that's going to be my big thought. I think that Solgaleo sucks right now. There's like Solgaleo is pretty much a the solitaire based decks, Charizard's clearly the best. Solgaleo is like fighting for Charizard's like spot, and Charizard just does really well into the top 3 decks. How did I do? I made day 2, so I'll be playing tomorrow. So that's the issue with why there's no more Solgaleo decks, or why there's so few Solgaleo decks. And also they got farmed by all the Oricorio players, right? Their Oricorio lines suck compared to at least Charizard can scam out with Flareon. Other decks I want to bring attention to is Harian, famous for using Charizard Wigglytuff all the damn time. Used a Fighting Box deck. Used Lucario, Hitmonchan, Marshadow, Rampardos as just and with the Penny, as just a very offensive way to like wear through decks. It's really good into Charizard decks. Rampardos, Lucario has always been good into Charizard decks because of Marshadow. Hitmonchan plus Geo is good into Eevee decks. So lots of good scam potential. Penny is a scam card. So really cool to see this guy do as well as he did. And again, matchups. It seems that the deck also did good against Sylve Greninja players, so that might be something to take in mind. Going 3-1 is against those players is pretty impressive, right? So I'm going to keep that in mind. They did beat an Eevee Arceus guy who went 6-2, so of course I want to see what this guy was cooking. This guy was cooking Sylveon Arceus Crobat. Someone else talked about it. This is a deck I think is strong, but it does have inconsistency in the cards, right? I think this is a good deck. I don't know what energy they're running. I would assume Dark Psychic, just that you can attack with everything. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think Arceus decks do have a space in tournament. Too much Sylveon Slop. Yes, we're in the era of Sylveon Slop. Sylveon Slop makes every deck function. So be sure to Sylve your Slop. No Giratina, so they're running no more Giratina, so the Thanos deck is a bit different now, but still cool to see. I don't know if they made top cut, but they went 6-2. That's pretty impressive, right? It went 6-2 last time with the deck that turned out to be one of the better decks in the format. Yeah, they just barely missed out. Pretty weak opponents. Resistance. Other than that, the deck that I kind of talked about is still popping off in Garchomp Sylveon. I'm really happy to see this deck do well. They did have a small meta adaptation. What they're kind of adding to their deck is a Giant's Cape over a Lily. This allows Rampardos to hit 170, but this also allows Garchomp to hit 190, which is really, really healthy. You're not dying to a lot of different combos. Why, yes, I would like Sylveon slot, caught delectable. Sylveon's probably the best card in Pocket ever printed. And I really don't know what they can print next month that will make Sylveon slot like not still the best single card ever printed. Like they'd have to like print Exodia, the forbidden one, for me to think that like there's a better card than Sylveon, right? Or generic Draw 2, Professor Oak 2, Electric Boogaloo. They need to give us Professor Oak 2, Electric Boogaloo. It's the best card ever, and it's not even close. You know what they need to do? They need to create Upstart Goblin for TCG. Draw a card, heal your opponents by 10. They need to create Upstart Goblin. That's the only thing that I would say is more broken than Sylveon. Garbotoxin is real. You'd probably get that. But that's kind of where the meta is. There isn't really too much to talk about, like Buzzwole player. Like every deck is still viable. I genuinely think that this is the best meta we have had. Every single old deck is viable, and then older decks are alive because of Sylveon, right? Like the Greninja decks are alive. The Reality Pocket Raid is alive. Thank you very much. There's so much that is real and alive, and it's really, really cool to see. Like I said, Garchomp is back. Garchomp is a deck that you can use, and it was dead. Sylveon, Greninja Giratina is the best deck in the format, and that was a deck that was also gone, right? That was also, like, faded out of the meta last set, right? Giratina Greninja decks were not that good. Now they're a top-tier deck. And I think it's so cool. We're seeing so many new decks. I think this is the best Pocket meta. Easily. That's it. Oricorio's up. Use Oricorio for ranked. That's my... I guess if there's 3 things to take away, use Oricorio in ranked right now. It's really good. Charizard Sylveon's probably the best ranked deck that you can use. You can be greedy with your tools because Guzma is down. And maybe more people should use Guzma, but that's why Darktina went 7-0 in this tournament with no items. Other than that, this has been a meta recap. Goodbye, YouTube.